I'm not a witch. I will not have a problem.
So why then didn't you say hi to her at the party like she said?
Because I've watched a clip of this girl saying I should die. What is ever that serious that you're telling me to go and die? What? You just say it.
Wow.
You don't remember?
Let me jog your memory.
Till now, you know, it was recently I understood why she's mad at me. Initially, I didn't understand it, and I will say.
Woo! It's official. Tonight, beauty earned my respect 100%. In fact, 1,000,000 times over, beauty earned my respect. I mean, guys, I was watching this young lady responding to questions in the most mature way. I was listening to her explain herself, articulate her feelings, and I think for the first time, I saw where she was coming from. For the first time, I could really understand what really informed her actions that led to her disqualifications whilst the show was still on. And guys, on this video, I have a lot to say about Groovy, because tonight, Groovy made a complete fool of himself. Groovy turned himself into a funny, I don't know, maybe it's tautology, but he made himself into a joker. I was just looking at Groovy sitting down there, claiming all sorts. You abused me. You did this, you did that. And I'm like, okay. Groovy. Beauty is talking about how you emotionally manipulated her, how you gaslighted her, how you love bombed her. The exact same thing that Shex did to Bella. And you are coming here, you want to come and claim the case of abuse. Really, Groovy. Guys, there's a lot I have to say, and I'm going to be spilling on this video, and not just about the whole Beauty and Groovy saga. There was also the square that Bbnaija by himself created with Rachel, Diana, and Amaka. Tonight was a face-off between Diana and Rachel. Guys, it was simply hilarious. However, I have a lot of things to point out from that whole you know, back and forth between those two ladies. And then there was also Phyna. Guys, Phyna goofed. I'm going to be sharing all of that with you all on this particular episode of Frankly Speaking with Bbnaija. So please make sure you watch to the end. And as usual, I want to encourage you all to go ahead and share with me your thoughts in the comment section below. And also, if you're yet to become a part of this family, please do not hesitate to do exactly what you see on your screen. One final reminder, guys, 3 p.m. WAT on Saturday. This Saturday, we're going to be converging here for our community meeting, our family meeting, our FSWG Saturday YouTube live stream. So please do not miss out. Now quickly, let's proceed into the details of this conversation. So tonight's conversation started with Bbnaija's square, yes, but the conversation was centered specifically around Diana and Rachel's fight. I don't know if you all recalled that epic Saturday night party, yes, whilst the party was going on, and then Rachel was having conversations in the garden with Bbnaija, and Diana had caught both of them around the toilet, yes, in the garden, and then she had lost her shit and she had attacked Rachel. Guys, if you all cast your mind back to that period, there was one particular question I kept on asking, that why exactly was Diana transferring all of that aggression at Rachel? Because if you think about it, the person that actually led her on, the person that actually deceived her was Bbnaija. From all what she spilled tonight on the show, she had actually revealed that apparently before the party that evening, Bbnaija had actually confessed his feelings to her, told her that he wanted both of them to be an item, told her that he liked her. And then the party had happened only for her to see Bbnaija and Rachel caught up in a compromising, you know, situation, and that had made her lose her mind. According to what she said, in the most hilarious way, of course, Fire had actually disappeared. She actually wanted to attack Fire for, making a fool of her on television that way, but the guy had actually disappeared. And then later on, she had seen the guy, having conversations with Adekunle. And I was thinking that, no, Diana, your intentions that night was actually to attack Rachel, because you had actually had Rachel in mind, ever since you saw that Rachel and Fire had been getting along pretty much. I mean, they had been getting too close and you had been uncomfortable with it, right? So guys, it was very obvious that even though Diana had seen Fire much later, she did not have anything to attack the guy for. For her, the perpetrator was Rachel, and Rachel had to be dealt with. Now, speaking of Rachel, Rachel made a statement tonight which I felt was just a blatant lie. Yes, she had responded to one of Ebuka's questions. I can't really remember what the question was right now, but she had said that she did not have feelings in the house, that she was just having fun. And I'm like, Rachel, is that you? Like, did you just really say that you did not have feelings in the house? Rachel, you, if you did not have feelings for anybody, what was it about Adekunle that really hurt you so much, that made you hate the guy? Like, Rachel disliked Adekunle to the point of even hatred. Like, she disliked Adekunle so much that because Adekunle did not reciprocate her energy of romance or likeness or love or whatever, or of being in a ship, this girl literally jumped on the bandwagon of that ugly narrative about Adekunle being a horrible person, about Adekunle being a gossip. There was nothing we did not hear from Rachel in that house about Adekunle. So guys, I mean, in my frank opinion, it will only take someone that is really hurt that way. Yes, someone that has really tasted such unrequited attention, unrequited love, to feel that way. So Rachel, sitting there where she was, looking all pretty and all whatnot, telling Ebuka that she never had feelings in the house, that she was just having fun. Guys, I was just like, Rachel, darling, you lie. Because we actually saw different. Overall, the back and forth between Rachel and Diana, guys, was just simply hilarious. I mean, Diana will always be the funniest housemate of the season. Yes, because of the way she talks, because of the way she expresses herself, but I really understood her own point of view. However, I still feel like, even though she said that she apologized to Rachel back in the house, and she apologized again on the show tonight, I just felt like, no, Diana, you need to actually check yourself. You need to check your temperament, because for future's sake, when a man slights you, when a man offends you, you don't go attacking the other woman. You need to have a conversation with that man. Or if there's anybody you want to attack, if you have the muscle, go and meet the man. The other woman involved should not be your priority, because I just felt like she by herself made a fool of herself, because she felt like, Fire or even Rachel made a fool of her on national television. And I'm like, no, Diana, you made a fool of yourself by not being able to control yourself. Moving on to the Beauty and Groovy's relationship, Ebuka opened up that conversation by showing us clips, of course, of all the lovey-dovey moment between those two people. But then it started off the conversation by seeking Sakes's opinion about what he thought about the relationship. Now, guys, Kes said what he said. However, the one thing that I could remember that came out of Kes's mouth about that relationship was that he was all for whatever was going on between Groovy and Phyna. Guys, I will never forget that day. The level 2 housemates were in the garden and Beauty had been disqualified at that point in time. They were just having conversations about what was going on, and before we knew it, Sakes had opened his mouth and made that statement. And guys, in a way it got me confused, because I was thinking, is this not the same Kes that was all for Groovy and Beauty being together? Is this not the same Sakes that was kind of acting like a father figure, for Beauty? But then Beauty got disqualified, and we all agree that at that point in time, she did not have control of her emotions. She was highly temperamental, had anger issues, as was displayed in the house. Thankfully, from what we saw tonight, she looks extremely calm, like she has really worked on herself and she has become a better person. But at that point in time, we knew what Sakes said. So the way he was sounding tonight all through the reunion show, I was just looking at this guy like, he just felt like, okay, he has a good relationship with Beauty now. He doesn't want to spoil it, or maybe he has a good relationship with Phyna. I don't know, but it just looks like he was kind of, threading carefully. He doesn't want to expose himself, because the guy was making it look like, he was all for the relationship, and he was kind of worried that, the relationship had actually started off too early. Of course, he expressed that sentiment during the show, yes, but about the whole Phyna thing, was making it look like, and Groovy was acting shady, Groovy was cunning, Groovy did not have control over his relationship with Beauty, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Sakes, I get how you feel about this whole thing, but dude, you literally endorsed Groovy and Phyna's relationship. So why are you acting like, why are you, guys, now? I just could not deal. Brian also had his own sentiments. Of course, Ebuka had brought him into the conversation, asking him about his sentiment about the whole thing, the sudden switch from Beauty to Phyna after Beauty got disqualified from the house. And I really loved the fact that Brian was just spitting fire tonight. I loved the fact that Brian was really talking. Yes, this was not a case of, and Groovy is my guy. As a matter of fact, it seems as though both of them are not really, on good terms at the moment, because, guys, of course, we know that Brian had never really trusted Groovy after the way he switched on to Phyna, whilst the show was still on. So we saw all of that. And, from the way he sounded tonight, it just seems like these people actually have a lot of underlying issues. I love the fact that he called Groovy to his face a corny man. For Beauty, the relationship, even though it had taken only 3 days, for she and Groovy to start off their, roller coaster romantic ride, and for her, it was all real. And guys, I think it was actually real for her because of the way she was taking everything to heart. But for those of us that actually watched the show, guys, you and I know that it wasn't real for Groovy. I will never forget the way Groovy would look away and mind his business whenever Beauty got into an argument in the house. You see that particular night when Beauty had that altercation with Bbnaija, the way Groovy stayed on his bed, this guy just kept quiet and stayed there. Oh my God. Guys, if you all recall my analysis of that particular episode, I was mad. I said, no, a guy will not claim to love you. A guy will not claim to like you. And then seeing you breaking Big Brother's rules, seeing you putting your hand in fire, and then allowing you to get burnt. Groovy lets Beauty get burnt. And guys, we get it. We understand. Just as Groovy said on the show tonight, Beauty is an adult, right? And she knows her left from her right, and she knows better to control herself, to control her temperament in Big Brother's house. We understand, yes. So we can't fault Groovy for how Beauty behaved, but we're talking about his I don't care attitude, guys. Everything that Groovy claimed to feel for Beauty tonight on the show was all lies. This guy was claiming that it was real for him. Bloody lie even. It was not real for Groovy. For Groovy, it was all a game. And guys, if you all recall, there was a particular conversation that Groovy had actually had with Shegs. Both of them had talked about how they were going to get into the house and they were going to jump on relationships. Yes, both of them had actually planned it. Yes, during the lockdown, Shegs and Groovy had shared the room together, so both of them had actually planned that their strategy was going to be in different relationships. This one will be in a relationship, the other one will be in a relationship, and if possible even get into entanglement. And Shegs ended up with Bella, Groovy ended up with Beauty at first, and then there was Chumsy, and then there was Phyna. So a lot was going on with those people. For Groovy, it was never serious with any of those ladies. For him, it was all a game. And then when it was time for Groovy to defend himself, he was saying that his own grievance is that the whole level 2 people were blaming him for Beauty's disqualification. Guys, I get it. At that point in time, it was quite hurtful to hear his fellow housemates blaming that way. But guys, let's not forget, Beauty actually revealed tonight that the alcohol she drank that particular night, it was Groovy that actually gave her that alcohol. And she and Brian, they were planning, his birthday party. They were planning a surprise birthday party. So Groovy was the one that started spreading the narrative that Beauty was an alcoholic. That it was the alcohol that she was taking, that got into her head that made her go crazy. So this guy literally asked this girl out to be his girlfriend, and then he was giving people the impression in the house and us, the viewers, that he was just there doing his own thing, that Beauty was the one throwing herself at him. I mean, guys, tonight I was just looking at Groovy, and the fact that he could not even deny anything, he showed that everything was true. He did not even frown. Like, this guy knew that everything Beauty was saying was true. I was looking at Groovy, and it took all the willpower that God blessed me with to control myself from punching him through my TV, because I knew that at the end of the day, I'm going to end up breaking my TV screen. But tonight, I looked at Groovy with so much disgust. So much disgust. For this guy, it was all a game. And yes, the housemates are allowed to play games, but watching him come onto the reunion show tonight, you know, and try to come and claim nonsense. Like, this guy literally opened his mouth and was claiming abuse. He said, you abused me. And even when Beauty asked him and asked him and asked him, he still maintained that Beauty abused him. And I'm like, bro, yes, she abused you verbally. Yes. She called your dick small. Yes. And she apologized in the house. She apologized outside the house. But bro, do you understand what is called emotional abuse? Do you understand what is called gaslighting? Hello, Groovy, if you're watching this right now, do you understand what is called, you know, love bombing? Under the duvet, you tell this girl you like her, you like her, you like her. The same thing Shegs was doing to Bella. You brainwash her. You will tell her, don't listen to people, blah, blah, blah. And then when people are in public, you come and make her look like she's crazy, like she's demented. Now you have selective amnesia on the reunion show. You cannot remember all those things you were doing. Trash Groovy. Carry Groovy, put him in the trash can. Put him in the trash can. Then it was Beauty and Phyna's conversation of friendship. Now, Ebuka had thrown the first question. First to Beauty, you know, he was asking if she would consider Phyna a friend, if they were friends back then in the house. And for Beauty, they were actually friends. And guys, anybody that watched the show would have considered them friends, because Phyna and Amaka were fully invested in Beauty's relationship with Groovy. The way they were advising her, the way they were looking out for her, the way they were telling her to be smart, to wisen up or whatnot. And for Phyna, she would say they were friends, but not that friends. And I'm like, Phyna, just answer the question. And she was like, she would say that they were roommates. I'm like, they were roommates. Okay, okay. But anyways, for Beauty, I mean, in the most mature way ever, she explained that she had no issues whatsoever with whatever Phyna and Groovy did in the house. For her, she didn't come to the reunion show to come and fight with anybody or to dig deep into anything. But for her, what really got to her was when she watched a clip that Phyna had said that she should go and die because of man. And guys, you know, yeah, this reunion show, I don't think it's even really going deep into the things that actually happened outside the house, because it's a lot. It's a lot. All because of Groovy in the mix. It's a lot. Now, it was so funny how in a flip second, Phyna has selective amnesia. She could not remember saying it. Why? Because she talks too much. Why? Because when she's, you know, in her element, she says all manner of derogatory things at people. She could not remember, but she did not apologize, because Ebuka kept on asking her, okay, do you think you handled the situation right that time? She said no, thinking about it now. And from the way she explained it, it turns out that she's justifying all of her actions towards Beauty. It was only that part that she felt she did not handle right. But then the person that actually caused the miscommunication was Sarkes, because Sarkes was the one, you know, all in the name of trying to buy favor with Phyna at the time in the house, and actually lied to Phyna in his explanation that, oh, Beauty said you had eyes for Groovy. Whereas Beauty had actually said, no, Phyna was just being a hypocrite. So the Sarkes that sat down on the set of the reunion tonight, looking like the grandfather that had the truth and only the truth, was just being a blatant liar. In the midst of it all, guys, you know what I said to myself? I just said that this conversation is not going to end today. Yeah, it's not going to end today, except they show us if there was any other part of that conversation on the reunion. I don't think it's going to end today. There's still... See, in fact, I don't even think these housemates are going to settle anytime soon. That's between Phyna and Beauty. I think their friendship has been cut off courtesy of Groovy, and that's what it's going to be. But hey, we never can tell what the future holds. And this is where I'm going to stop talking at this point. I feel like there's a lot more I'm going to say, but it's not going to be on this video. It's going to be on Saturday during our YouTube live stream. In the meantime, I would love to know your thoughts about this whole conversation. So please go ahead and share in the comment section below. And I'll see you guys on another episode of Frankly Speaking with Bbnaija. Have an amazing night rest. Oh, before I even go, there was a statement that Ebuka made tonight on the reunion show. I will explain it on Saturday. Good night.